Yes. And let's play the intro. Us, we haven't, coronavirus hasn't blown up the world yet. So it's all. Yeah, I mean, everybody's from home. Yeah, like we're not supposed to stream too much. Like I work at home, but we're supposed to not stream too much. Let me just share this on my page. Are you kidding me? Hold on one sec. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Space Couch. We just had to do a little life support systems check there as always. Let's get back onto the actual couch. How you doing? Uh, maybe you're working from home. I'm still out here in space, so quarantine is nothing new to me. Let's just do a little. We're gonna check the engine system here. Looking great. So, what allows me to hang out here in space on a nice edge of mortality in the cosmic void, where everything is trying to kill you, not just terrestrial viruses, is of course our amazing sponsor this week, uh, as every week. It's Tiger Squawk Records' new single, or EP, excuse me, from Israel. New single from Sugar Plum Suicide. A very appropriate new album from Industrial, Magic is Heresy. Maybe we'll get into that. New Grasp Logic, Blame Decay is the name of that single. And, and a Black Box. Oh, Tiger Squawk Records. I psyched you out. I just wanted to say that you can check all this out from Tiger Squawk Records at Tiger Squawk Records on Facebook. TigerSquawkDigital.com is the parent company that runs both Space Couch, some podcasts, and the record company. So let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Tiger Squawk Records, I'm so excited to talk to our guest today. He's put out back to back just warheads of an album. It's really, really cool. She's been in quarantine for a bit, so I'm told he's happy to come out here in space. I mean, that's the ultimate getting out of your house is coming up here to a couch flying around the sun or the moon. I haven't figured that part out yet, but what I have figured out is this. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Injustrial. What is up, sir?
Hello, my man. So good to be here in
Thank you.
space.
In space, as I understand it, it might just be nice to get out of your home. You've been stuck there in Norway for 2 weeks.
Quite a while, yes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming onto the couch. Let's get into this right away because I'm excited. Magic is Heresy and the Discovery EP are out now. Um, could you let's start? Could you tell us a little bit about these two releases?
Well, we could just, I don't know, start with the first release, which was the Discovery EP. Now, that was like a bit of an experiment where I just wanted to try to learn how to make synthwave because I listened to a lot of it, and I was
Totally.
like, how do they make it sound so good? That's the thing. So you can sort of like consider it like a school project or something, I guess.
Well,
So
it's really good, man. And then uh, we roll right into what is up to my buddy Dan, friend of the show. The uh, you roll right into the long-awaited Magic is Heresy. Uh, you've been working on some of that material for a while, and it's such a different style, but it's also great. Um, you know what? Let's just cut to a clip of these. These are two songs from two releases out now on Tiger Squawk Records. We'll be able to talk over them, so we're just going to cut to that. You won't be able to hear it, but the people will. So check this first album. Yeah, I have to do that. Right. Uh, okay, manual adjust. It's all good, and we're back in. Oh, what is up to Natas? Um, So we just heard both of those albums, very different styles. What's it like to go so deep into synthwave, come out, and then shortly thereafter release a killer, what I'll just call industrial, but you let me know how you think of it, album, Magic is Heresy.
I was kind of weird actually because they do sound like very, very differently. There's
Hmm.
a lot of like, how do I put it? None of the sounds sound the same, if that makes sense.
No, totally.
So
I would not. Like a lot of times, I find when people try to go to a different genre, you can still pick up like little sort of traces of that person, and these are so different. I was so impressed. Um,
thank you
so
very much.
excuse me, the Discovery EP. Uh, that was that sounds like a research project for you. Like you really did some archaeology almost. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. That was the entire thing, especially the second track where I kind of recreated Carpenter Brute's Turbo Killer by ear and then
Nice.
messed with it. And just see how it is done, how to do
Hmm.
the analog synthesizers and the sound design and the stacking of the layers and all that stuff.
Very cool. And so then let's get into the more recent release, the full length. Magic is Heresy. Tell me about that. Like, what was some of the motivation behind this album?
That was mostly to sort of like finally gather up all the loose tracks that I've
Mm.
been working on for a couple of years now. I was supposed to release that album 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and it never came to pass. So I went back, redid all the tracks basically from scratch,
Wow.
and that took a long time as well, almost 2 more years, it felt like. And
Just about
then
it.
I wrote a couple of new ones and chucked it out the door,
It's really
pretty much.
good, man. Um, I just can't say enough about it. Where did you get the title of Magic is Heresy? That's very intriguing.
Two things played into that. The first album I ever released was called Distortion is Magic,
Okay.
which is a play on the whole My Little Pony friendship is magic thing.
Okay.
So that was fun. And I wanted to tie this one into the old one, sort of. But I wanted to also like make it a clearly separate one. So Magic is Heresy was the
Oh, very
clear
cool.
cut way to go there. It's
Uh,
also like a kind of goodbye to the whole Brony fandom, so that
mm,
also kind of makes sense in my
okay.
head.
We will get into that. Let me ask you this, and feel free to take a pass. But like, I'm very interested in specifics. Can you tell me like what DAWs and VSTs you're using these days?
Do you want like a full list, or do you want
Well, just like, what are
like
you
a simple?
liking? What are you really feeling these days?
Well, I'm on FL Studio,
Mm-hmm.
which is FL Studio 20 these days, after they
Mm-hmm.
finally brought back the step sequencer,
Oh,
which was
really?
a
They got
very
rid of it?
important thing. I got rid of it for the FL 12, I believe it
Okay.
was. So I just waited until they brought it back, and now it's there. So I finally upgraded.
Cool.
And the VSTs I use in that one is there's a lot of reactor because
Okay.
that thing was expensive. So I want to get all
Yeah,
the ensembles
it's
I
not
could
cheap.
possibly get out of it. Super expensive. The Zeta Plus 2 from, is it Cakewalk?
Yeah.
I believe I said. That was fun because you can, it works a lot like, say, Massive,
Mm-hmm.
but you can m- change the waveforms a lot in it. You
Cool.
can mess with the waveforms and fold them in on each other and
Oh, nice.
do all sort of crazy stuff. You can, of course, automate that so you get very moving sounds. You know, they change a
Cool.
lot with the sustain. Anna, I use that exclusively for the Discovery EP. It's an analog synthesizer, pretty basic, but it's also very, very easy to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got the Valhalla Vintage Reverb package, which was so good.
Cool.
It has the most beautiful reverb I've ever heard in my life,
I will check it
and
out.
it's so good. I think it's like $50 as well.
Okay. Very
It's a
cool.
great little
I don't have a
reverb
great
plugin.
sense of reverb, but like, maybe this will help me out. Well, thanks for the heads up on that, man.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Otherwise, it's just standard stuff.
O-
Condenser mic,
Okay. uh,
giant 15-inch subwoofer.
let's back up a step because uh, this is like, we've spoken online, but we've never actually spoken on with our mellifluous voices before. So give me sort of your superhero slash villain origin story. How did you get into this whole industrial juggernaut?
It's actually 100% because of My Little Pony, which is a strange thing. But like the thing about the whole fandom there is that there's a lot of musicians and artists and video editors and all that sort of stuff, hugely creative, and they made some really really like good music. It was like I was shocked and surprised.
Hmm.
And then I learned that one of the biggest names called Living Tombstone used FL Studio, and I've always like thought that FL Studio was like a toy or something, but he
Hmm.
actually makes proper music with it. It's like I'm gonna check that shit out
Right.
and try to do something, and this is what happened. Really,
Amazing, amazing. I had no idea. Yeah, the you can do some really great shit with FL Studio. So, correct me if any of this is wrong, because I don't know what terminology to use or what's current. But like, so are you the industrial brony? Is that accurate?
I have been referred to it as
Okay.
such. That is true. I don't really know. I don't probably doesn't really mean anything,
Okay.
but
So there's this community of online My Little Pony sort of fans and or enthusiasts, and that you would count yourself among that.
I used to be. I
Hmm.
have since kind of had like a little bit of a leaving the fandom
Okay.
moment. A lot of us have, but it was great while it lasted, and I will always remember them fondly for the time and the fact that it actually brought me into making music at all.
Well, then I am a fan of that. And what is up to fellow Gossical and absence of sincerity and xenotypes? Brian Absence in the chat room. Um, Okay, cool. So it's you're sort of you're not rage quitting or anything. It's just the next step for
Yes, so like
uh,
growing out of your shoes, this kind of thing.
very
It has
cool.
it has played its part.
um, so uh, your English is pretty amazingly good. Um,
Thank you.
would you ever write or sing in Norwegian, or is that just like a cultural, like industrial music culture thing where it's in English?
I'm not entirely sure how I would go about it. Really, I've written so much in English; it's hard to go back to Norwegian.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, you speak Norwegian. It's just the mindset of like, I'm gonna sit down and write an industrial song, and the Norwegian doesn't even come into your mind. It's just this is English is what it is.
like when I write like lyrics, there it's the whole poetry thing kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing, and a funny thing becomes quite apparent when you listen to a lot of languages and try to learn a little bit with them because they all have that different sound and a different melody when you speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my accent is kind of weird right now, but a standard Norwegian man would speak English like this because that is how Norwegian sounds
Mm-hmm.
with the whole intonation and the melody,
Mm.
and that sort of like linguistic melody doesn't really translate as well to the
Interesting.
whole music that I'm writing, at least.
Interesting.
Uh, which is why probably I'm guessing like Norwegian folk music sounds as it does, like the whole trolly kind of way, as in the old trolls, not the internet trolls. But
There's a basis in just sort of the rhythm of the language. You think?
yes, and like rappers are very good at this, where they
Mm-hmm.
not only pick the words to convey the message in a way that sounds cool,
Mm-hmm.
but they also think a lot about where the syllables go and
Mm-hmm.
which consonants and vowels and where do you put them and where's the flow in the words that you use. And Norwegian doesn't really work that way for
Interesting.
my music. I feel
Okay.
noticed
Cool. Well, now, yeah, Jason Williams says, uh, isn't linguistic structure profoundly different?
it is
Uh,
extremely different.
okay. And Alexis Wilson says, I remember meeting you at a con in 2017 and haven't regretted it at all. Um,
Hello, Alexis.
and hello, Alexis. Welcome to space. We're naturally quarantined up here. Um, so you have if my internet stalking is accurate, you've done some live shows,
That I
and
have.
awesome, cool. Tell me about the live experience for you.
Well, I'm one of those eternal support acts. I will never
I never.
headline anything in my life, and it's fine.
Come on,
Uh,
come to the states. We'll have you headline.
I
Uh,
freaking love that.
uh,
But it's a very like low risk, low reward kind of thing, and that's fine.
what do you mean? Is it just like you and a laptop or something?
No, I got a laptop. I've got a trigger finger and a mic, and that's me, and a DJ deck, of course. And that's me live, all alone.
Okay.
But I don't really like go out of my way to try to get gigs booked and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, I will like sit around, and if something comes up, I'll ask them if they'll have me, and if not, that's no big deal.
Okay. Good stuff. But do you enjoy playing live, or is it something of an acquired taste yet?
It is extremely fun. I
Uh
do
huh.
enjoy it. Back in high school, I was in a metal band, which was terrible, but it
Yeah, me
existed.
too.
And playing live was a lot of fun back then,
Okay.
and it still is. It's the adrenaline rush and the we're just watching so many people have a great time that brings a smile to my face.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, do you have any gigs coming up we should plug here on Space Couch?
No gigs coming up as of
Okay,
yet. We have been
cool.
talking about doing the whole Slimelight thing again because I got booked at Slimelight. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. And we've been talking about doing it again because it was a lot of fun,
Oh,
but
awesome.
we haven't been able to figure out the logistics of it just yet.
Very cool. Well, I've played Slime Light a couple times. Maybe we can make that intersect.
That could be
Um,
fun.
that'd be great, man. Like a will be a Tiger Squawk Con, Squawk Stock. Um,
Ooh.
Speaking of which, thank you very much for being a part of the entire Tiger Squawk family. It's been great having you on those battle comps and everything. You're a wonderful addition to our little weird island of misfit toys. So thank you very much on behalf of Tiger Squawk Records.
Thank
Uh,
you very much for inviting me. I
no,
was a bit surprised when you did.
well, no, it's you're really good. I was happy you said yes. Um, the uh, we were talking a little bit before the show about streaming, you're a pretty prolific streamer, erstwhile on Twitch, now on YouTube. Uh, what have you been playing? Anything you could recommend or have enjoyed?
Well, right now, just recently, I think it was yesterday, actually, we finished Doom Eternal, which is an incredibly high octane,
Thumbs up.
balls to the wall, frantic game.
Awesome. Okay, I
Really
love
good.
it. Cool.
And what's really interesting about that game is that the soundtrack is modular.
Really?
So it will ebb and flow with in relation to the action going on. So the more enemies that
What?
are on stage, and the faster you move, and the more you jump, and the more you shoot, the more intense the soundtrack gets. And the moment you kill the last demon in the room, it will just peter out
Wow.
seamlessly on beat. It is incredible what they did there.
That shit. I'm gonna have to do it now. I mean, I wasn't gonna not do it, but like I'm playing a couple games right now, and I wanted to at least finish those before picking up something else. But
Yeah.
man, that sounds awesome. Uh,
It's so cool. I don't know how they did it. I'm guessing like he wrote the levels music in like one BPM, one key, and then he just wrote a lot of sections that would be able to like switch out in between whatever is going
yeah,
on.
I mean, modular is the word. That's how you'd have to do it. Wow. Well, uh, as long as we're flying through space, we should do some training to like fight space demons on Phobos or wherever Doom
That
Eternal
makes
takes.
sense.
we're just, it's just good science. Um, so when Norway is not on lockdown,
That is
you
true.
are gainfully employed uh, as a chef. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm curious, what is a culinary habit uh, people, in your opinion, should change?
I think the biggest thing people need to change when it comes to their food habits is the waste of food.
Okay,
It
so
is insane.
you just see people eat like half a turkey or something.
Something like that, and we just throw food in the bin. I read like statistics on this that we throw enough food to feed every starving person twice over on the planet Earth,
Get out. Just
and that is just disgusting when you
that's
think
really
about it.
bad.
Like every like grain of rice I throw in the bin after reading that is like, oh, this hurts. I'm a terrible person. What am I doing?
Plus, you had wonderful chefs like yourself prepare it. So, from the man himself, um, I asked you how to pronounce your first name and I forgot it already. Give it to me one more time.
Vegard,
Vegard himself. Don't throw food away. Uh,
don't do it.
don't do it. Save it. I don't know. Tell us. Like Tupperware, your basic resealable container in the fridge, sort of thing.
If you can afford it, get a vacuuming machine.
O-
Those are great.
okay.
Like
Uh,
no, it's they vacuum pack your food, which
oh,
removes all the
right.
air, so it just stays for long.
Vacuum pack it. Don't toss it out. Um, so
And use scraps. Learn how to use
learn how to
scraps.
use. So like you know how. Tell us about that. Tell us about using scraps.
Well, like the ends of onions, we all cut them off and chuck them in the bin, right? But
Uh huh.
if you just save them for, you can get like 5 or 6 of them, some scraps of carrots, some scraps of celery, and boil it down. Got a stock.
Ah,
It doesn't cost you anything.
genius, this guy. Um, have you
Those
been?
sort of things.
um, so we'll stay in restaurant world for a second. Um, let's engage in a hypothetical scenario in which, let's say, four of Industrial's musical influences. Uh, so, like like say, four people that have influenced the music of Industrial got together to start a restaurant. What type of like restaurant would it be, and who would do what?
That's a really strange question, but
Yeah.
let's roll with it. I guess I mean, I like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's the whole
Okay.
thing I enjoy. So probably a steakhouse,
All right. All
like
right.
proper old school charcoal grill.
Love it.
Um, no vegetarian options, none of that stuff. Just
There's just
just go
not
for
on
it.
the menu.
Not on the menu. That doesn't happen. So we're probably gonna have to grab like a lawless from Wasp. Always reliable.
Okay, all right, I love it.
Always reliable. Doesn't matter which album or which dish in this case
Uh,
he would create for us. It's all going to like taste like as if he did it, but it's going to be good.
all right, amazing. He will fuck that pot roast like a beast.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so, who else is at the Industrial Influence restaurant?
I'm guessing I'm bringing Rammstein.
Okay.
Rammstein. They're going to work with German efficiency and with great rhythm,
Yes.
so you can always rely on them for prep. And nobody brings more pyro on stage than them, so they know how to
Okay.
handle flame.
Oh, genius. Yes.
Makes sense.
Right. And they will serve you your tile, not mine tile, dine tile.
Dine
Um,
tile.
dine tile. Um, and so we got we have Rammstein manning the flames. Wasp is curating the menu. Give me one or two more.
All right, we're gonna need dishwashers, and that's
Right.
gonna be no effects.
No effects is washing the dishes.
Like they're not
Ma-
gonna bother with anything else, but they're hysterically funny, so just gonna keep
this
me entertained all the while.
I sense a non-zero amount of um like there are some very dark lyrics obviously
Oh yeah,
in Industrial, but there's sort of a sense of fun like ladies and gentlemen, this is Industrial. Like do you work that in consciously at all, or is it musically to you like a pretty uh, meant to be nothing but like sort of a heavy project?
I guess it depends like on the mood as I'm
Mm.
writing and what I'm doing. Really, uh, like I don't have a set thing that I do
Mm-hmm.
apart from of course there are tropes.
Mm-hmm.
Every musician has their tropes and stuff, but it all depends on like how do I feel when I write this, and how does this what I write make me feel, and it
Mm-hmm.
sort of becomes like a feedback loop. So
Okay.
who the f knows where the next thing is going to
Very
sound
cool.
like? But it is important to not take yourself too seriously. I feel.
I am a fan of that. The
I
oh,
noticed.
Dre from Scilab says yeah steak. Scott from uh, Beta virus. Do roast so good. So gut. Very good, sir. Beta virus. Jason says, is it a linoleum floor? Um,
No, it's a hard tile floor.
okay. It's a hard tile floor, Jason.
So if you
Uh,
fall down, it's gonna hurt more. Don't run in kitchens.
yeah, don't run in kitchens. Uh, Industrial doesn't have time for that. Slipping is heresy. And so give me one more.
Uh, how about Axl Rose?
Axl Rose, is he the waiter or does he just sort of like manage the place?
I mean, he's fucking useless, but I'm such a huge fanboy that I can't not include him.
Okay.
We could put him in like a fur coat and put him on as security, I guess, and then he could just beat up people I don't like, start riots.
Yes, yeah, he will not let people into the Garden of Eden. Eden, the Garden of Eden.
The
E A
Garden of
T.
Eden. That's the
Yes.
name. Ooh.
EATIN apostrophe, but there's no vegetables in the Garden of Eden. It's it's it is a one-way trip to meat. I can't think of any meat references for Guns N' Roses off the top of my head.
uh,
Brisket Queen. We'll get there.
that's a good one.
Fantastic. Um, you have guest vocals on Magic is Heresy by mutual friend Tiffany Wells. Uh, how did you come to meet her?
Through ponies.
Oh, really?
It's
Okay,
it's
awesome.
it's all it all comes back to
It's
horses,
okay. Very cool.
which
Um,
is really strange. But there was a fellow friend of ours called Mike who does Clark music. By the way,
mhm.
you should check him out. Very talented. Um, he was playing like horse music before me,
Uh-huh.
and then I decided to like try and talk to him because it seems like a nice guy, and open up a friendship, and we're still friends to this day. And he was dating Tiffany for a little bit,
Okay.
and they sort of introduced me, and she got me to play at Slimelight. It's all like a little bit of a clusterfuck there, but That's really the story of what happened.
Very cool. Well, shout out to all parties involved. Oh man, I want to. Every time I haven't been to Slimelight a lot. I've only been there a few times, but every time the place is just so big. I always find like a room I never knew existed. But would love
Oh yeah, I
to.
got so lost there as well.
I got so lost. I think I played three different rooms there, but we'll figure it out. Like yeah, when did you play Slimelight?
Uh, June 2018, I believe it was. I don't remember. It was together with Dead Pixel and
Oh, I love that
Tiffany
pixel. Cool, man.
with by now. Uh, and Ombramanto, and there was Michael Draven of Tapeworm was there.
Very cool.
And yeah, I think that was the group, and it was great fun.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Um, so what is next for the mighty Industrial, and is this all this time off affecting whatever you might or might not be working on?
That's a good question. I feel like my creative juices have been slumming it really
Oh yeah.
these past few days. Like my sense of routine and
Mm-hmm.
what I'm thinking about, it's gone. My head is empty.
Mm.
I'm not thinking about my mind is always racing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is I'm doing. I'm never able to like focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if
No, I
yeah,
definitely. That's what
yeah,
Space Couch is like.
that's what space couch is.
I mean, like it's I have a lot of projects going and then I started basically a TV show just to like stay in routine. Like I have to have like I don't know if you say in Norway irons in the fire or hands in a lot of pies or
Oh yeah,
I just spin out. Like I turn into like a statue. Like if I'm not doing 18 things, I'm doing zero for me.
yeah. I have it the exact same way, which is why I started streaming, which is why I paint miniatures. I have to do something creative all the time.
Oh, you paint
And
miniatures.
oh yeah, I'm hugely into Warhammer 40k,
Awesome,
which
awesome.
might actually lead into the next thing I might do because I've been thinking it may not happen, but I've
Mhm.
been thinking to do an EP themed by Warhammer 40k. So 4 tracks, one for each Chaos God, and
Oh,
sort of like make it sort of fit their personalities and stuff.
very cool. I was just talking with fellow Tiger Squawk guy Steven of Mr. Zoth and the Were Spiders
Oh yeah,
and Clubovator. We do a podcast, and he just explained the whole Warhammer 40k mythos to me as part of that show. So I kind
how
of
did he have
know.
time to explain the entire mythos in one
It was
sitting?
most of the episode, dude. Um, I shouldn't say the word entire. You are right. Sex, death, religion is here and says yes. We were just talking about mini painting incidentally before, but do you have like pictures of painted minis we would see on like an Instagram somewhere or something like that if you'd want to plug it?
I don't have an Instagram.
Okay.
I mean, you can find them on my personal profile if
Okay.
it's not too secret. I'll just tag myself
Very cool.
there, and people can go and see if the album is open. I'm not entirely sure,
All right. Well,
but if it's there, it's there.
if you very cool. If you're feeling it, I big ups to uh, Bakuno Pico Zero on Twitch. Sorry if I mispronounced your handle. I would love that personally. The I'm all for gamer music, so a baller EBM agrotech, however you want to categorize yourself. Uh, Warhammer 40k album would be great. Uh, how do you? Speaking of which, how would you classify industrial? Like, if somebody says, "Hey, I heard you're in a band," like a coworker or something, would you say EBM or what?
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it EBM, but
Mm-hmm.
electro industrial seems
Like,
to work fine.
totally. Yeah, I say industrial band.
Yeah,
Um,
like industrial is such a huge
totally.
thing. It's like an Adams family of tiny scary musics. If that makes sense.
That no, that's. I wish I would have thought of that. That's how much I love that analogy. Like, yeah, it's all kind of the same thing, but wildly different. Like,
Yeah, like you can see where they all started. There was like a progenitor somewhere, and they sort of like went out and got different jobs and married strange women, and now here we are.
the story of industrial.
Yeah,
Very cool. Oh, I love that. I'm gonna steal that for the next interview. I don't know what it's gonna be. I think we
do
might
it,
be. What's that?
do it.
Awesome. We might be off next week. Incidentally, I was supposed to be playing in England, but that's obviously been canceled. So we'll see what happens with uh, Space Couch here. Do you do remix work at all?
I have done a little bit of remix work. I did do a pure cover of Roxette's "The Look"
Oh,
after
nice.
the
Yes, you
lead singer
did. It's
died.
really good. Uh, what was that experience like? Is it this? I did you want to recreate it from the ground up, or keep as much as possible and add a little bit of that industrial magical dust, or somewhere in between?
Well, right on the "Look" thing, that's just a note for note copy,
Okay.
pretty much.
Got it.
And I even kept the original vocals into it just to like
Hmm.
keep it as a homage after the unfortunate death. Um, but something like Carpenter Killer from the Discovery EP, that is basically a cover, but it's also my stuff. So it's it's a toss up, depends on what I'm doing.
Okay. Cool,
A long
man.
time ago, strangely enough, now that you bring it up, how we met
Hmm.
is when I did basically steal one of your tracks, Who Wants to Join the Superhero Team? And I wrote DOC song, the greatest song ever. That's the title.
Okay.
And that was basically just like a pure ripoff, really, of the composition and stuff that
Well,
you did, but with
you
different lyrics.
well, you were big enough to message me and say, "Hey, I ripped off your song. Is this okay?" Which I got a kick out of, and I did a remix of Porcelain Doll because you had. I might fuck this up, but you had helped sponsor one of my albums. Thank you. And I messed up the name I was supposed to put in to the liner notes. So I offered you a free remix that I did over lunch breaks at my old job, which is like a weird sense memory that I have. But yeah, that was I think the last thing I did before I moved out of Chicago was finish the Industrial remix, available now on Magic is Heresy from Tiger Squawk Records. Plug your Bandcamp or website or wherever we may find you.
You can find me, of course, at industrial.bandcamp.com. That is industrial.bandcamp.com.
All
You can
right.
also find me on YouTube, where I put all my music, except it hasn't been remastered. It's the old versions that you get there, but it's there free.
Hmm.
Listen to it if you will. There's a SoundCloud page, if people still use SoundCloud these days.
Hmm.
Spotify, iTunes, all that sort of stuff. I also stream on my YouTube channel, so if you want to check that out, head over there. And I'm also here on Facebook, Industrial Music, I believe is the handle. Facebook.com/industrial music. That is correct. Yes.
And you're have taken a leave, temporary or otherwise, from Twitch, so we should look for your streams on YouTube.
Yes, I have left Twitch.
Okay.
The site is annoying me to no end.
Okay. Good to know. Um, the That's interesting. So the some of those the PSA I'm not okay and all of these
Oh,
wonderful
hang on.
hits.
Something is happening in the background here. Could you
Okay.
just distract them for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure thing, man. Uh, oh, Grasp Logic is in the chat room. What is up, dude? Um, we're just gonna do a little space calibration here, hanging out with Industrial. We might be off next week. I haven't figured it out. I just Space Couch is a lot of work. So I might just do this. I'm working on some remixes for some very fancy industrial bands right now. You've definitely heard of them. So we'll see. I might need some time to take care of that. And uh, I'm getting married at the end of the year, so like I gotta work on that too. And uh, some of the festivals that we were playing have been postponed. And there is one more festival announcement for a very fancy festival. You've definitely heard of it. I can't say it yet, but it's it's gonna be a good one. Um, all is well by you. Uh, they got
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'm fine. It was the proto-molecule hybrid that was causing issues.
Those proto molecule hybrids.
Ugh.
uh, the uh, the next remix I do for you is now called the proto molecule hybrid remix. Um,
I like it.
the versions of some songs we may find on YouTube uh, are have been since remastered on the new Magic is Heresy. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. Some of them completely rebuilt from scratch, which took
Okay.
a while.
Why why do that and what was that process like?
Well, first of all, uh, they vary wildly from the time they were made.
Mm.
So, like uh, the track "PSA I'm Not Okay" is the latest track that
Hmm.
I made, and I think "Night After Heard" is from like 2015 or something.
A lot of range.
There's a huge like difference in like production quality and
I
what I've
mean,
learned throughout the years, of
it just
course.
personally like I was categorically a different person in 2015. So like I couldn't write then. So I sort of feel you on that. I mean, don't let me put words in your mouth, but the idea of wanting to get it like as right as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And like they didn't sound like they were mastered to fit together because they weren't.
Hmm.
They were released as singles, you
Oh,
could say,
okay.
and kind of grabbed up to get it up together. And since they're on an album, they need to like sound slightly like
No,
they
I
belong together. I feel.
yeah. Did you master it or did you farm that out?
I did everything myself. I have no
Okay,
friends.
yes, man. I do not have that level of courage. I always farm that out to somebody and go, have fun. This track is 10 dB louder than this one. Make it all sound good. So
Uh,
good on you for delving into that black magic, pardon the pun, of mastering world. Is that just something you picked up, or did you have to do some research on that too?
I had I had to learn everything. I didn't know jack shit when I started doing this.
Uh,
Like it's all YouTube tutorials.
really, no
It's all
musical
YouTube
background
tutorials.
or anything like that.
Nothing really. I went to school to become a photographer.
Really.
Failed that, but that's what I did.
So, did you have any indication, like as a little vague artist, that you would get into music? Did you have? Well, you were in a metal band in high school, at least, right?
Yeah, that was. And I did totally not pirate Propellerhead Reason 5
Pellerhead.
back in like 2000. Nah, that was 14 years ago. Christ,
Hmm.
2006 that would be.
Wow.
And I couldn't get it to like work because I was like I didn't understand how this
Totally.
functions. You know?
Yeah. There's that moment of opening up this software and just going, I. There's the screenshot right there of the episode cover. Um, well, so you sort of had a sense of it. I have to know what the name of your high school metal band was.
Sacrilege, it was called.
Very good, very good. Did you spell it with like a K?
No, we didn't. But
Okay,
I did design a little S with like a spike that came up the middle, and I thought that was pretty clever. Uh,
awesome.
but it wasn't.
That's the
Hang on, let me
best.
see if I can find a terrible picture from back then.
We'll put that in the show notes. Yeah, I had a precursor band called a comedy metal band called Faded Memories, and then I did another comedy project called Sleeping Disorder, and that finally turned into the Gotsicles. So yeah, I am all about first steps. Um, do you do the hardware thing at all, or are you purely soft synth?
it's all software. It's all VSTs, like apart from like recording the vocals and all that stuff.
Very cool.
But there's I found the Encyclopedia Metallicum
Oh,
page.
oh, nice, man.
Oh God, there it is.
Oh, please put that in the. Okay, everybody, check that out. Oh, we got. You are setting a new standard for guest interaction here on Space Couch. So,
Well, it's a live stream. You got to talk.
oh,
You'll give something to the audience.
well, you are a veteran streamer, so I should expect no less from a TSR superstar such. the What is something about industrial you would like people to know?
I'm not
Meaning,
entirely
like,
sure.
is there anything people don't get, or is it pretty what you see is what you get?
It is very, very open, really.
Okay.
It's a musical project. It's not meant to be taken way too seriously.
Hmm.
I don't write deep or earth-shattering lyrics or
Hmm.
anything.
You kind I
It's
mean,
all.
like Porcelain Doll is pretty fucking dark though. But like I mean, there's a lot of range.
Oh yeah, it's a very dark song, but it's all also about a little cartoon dragon who is in love with a horse.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah, because on the show, Rarity treats the dragon named Spike like shit.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, okay, let's extrapolate that and make it like make him like really pissed off at her.
What was the name of? I I was not aware of that. I thought it was about a breakup. Um, I know him as Q from Star Trek, but he was the voice of the evil dragon. I think on
Yeah, Discord
he was
as it's
yeah.
called.
I played a show with that guy. He was the special guest at a con we did. So it was cool to have him walking around in the hallways. I think it was there for that. More people knew him as Discord, but I was like, holy motherfucking shit, it's Q. Um, but
He's so cool though.
yeah, he was a really cool guy. Discord, thank you, Alexis. Um, he's he seemed cool. I didn't say anything to him because I didn't want to. What am I supposed to say? Like, you're cool. But good stuff. Well, thank you for letting me know. I'm having a little bit of a revelation. I didn't know that I'd remixed a song about a cartoon horse and dragon. Um, are you feeling any? You don't need to do it. I met him at MCM Glasgow last year. Super chill guy. Uh, yeah, he was at a comic book con in Chicago where I used to live, and was just like cool as a cucumber. Uh, if you had to, you don't need to, but if you were to do the uh, Warhammer 40K album, where would you start? Like, who's your guy?
I think the easiest thing would be to start with Korn, of course, the god of war and blood and violence and earth-shattering
Right, I have
hammer
learned
punch.
semi recently that's where Blood for the Blood God comes from, right?
Yes,
Okay,
but he's all about uncontrolled aggression and wrath and all that sort of stuff. And it's going to be
fant.
very easy to translate into a song, I feel.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've already got the chorus, if not a verse.
Oh yeah.
It's very good. Um, and this is a very standard sort of touristy question, but how does your English get so good? I don't speak a lick of Norwegian.
Well, we consume a lot of English-speaking media in Norway,
Hmm. Very cool.
which is why our accents sound either horrible, like super Norwegian, or it sounds like an American who has had a little bit of an accident, but he's still there.
You're
Very
joking.
Americanized.
No, I
There's not a lot of the whole UK accent going on in Norway.
no, there's not. It's Nurgle Num One. I don't know what that means.
Nurgle is one of the Chaos Gods.
Oh, okay, now see, I'm learning. I'm learning,
Mm.
Mister Hail Natas. The Speaking of dark gods, awesome, very cool. I'm trying to learn. I started doing it the Nightcycles project with Edda, so I'm trying to learn Finnish, which I know is an entirely different place, but that's as close geographically as I can get to ever learning Norwegian. That shit's tough though. Uh,
I believe it's all the whole Baltic thing going on, right? So
it's either that or Mars. which I should know more about, being that I spend my life on a couch flying through space now. But speaking of flying through space, we are on a rogue flight path. And I'm going to bring this flying space couch back into the hangar. Um, but let's be uh, semi professional and do a big old industrial push at the end here. Uh, we didn't talk about the name at all. Is there anything we should know other than that's an extremely dope band name?
I just thought of it. I thought it was clever.
It's really good. No, it's really good. It's one of those things that like you hear, you see, and you're like, "Fuck, why did I never think of that before?" But it's choice. Uh, Industrial.bandcamp.com. Get the new, super sexy, remastered version of some songs, although they are available under like names on YouTube and SoundCloud. Magic is Heresy. You may think it's a different band, but it's not. The Discovery EP will make you think you're running through some like virtual reality in the rain thing with goggles that light up and a trench coat while you're being chased by a neon centaur, right? I mean, that's pretty. No, definitely the check out the Discovery EP, and also the Tiger Squawk Records battle compilations. Industrial, as always, brings the heat on that. Streaming now on YouTube. Do you have anything to conquer now that Doom Eternal is complete in your world?
I am not entirely sure. Let me look at my Steam library.
Okay.
We have Attack on Titan, Wings of Freedom, possibly. Could be fun. There is, of course, more Civ 6, one of the greatest games I've played in my entire life, and possibly some Warhammer 40k games. Who knows?
Okay. Who knows?
I
Well,
try to avoid the AAA games, and just go for the strangely interesting ones.
I love it. I love it. I love the strangely interesting. Well, this is now a great time because you can get on the ground floor streaming with Superstar Industrial. Now's the right time to do it. So check him out on now YouTube. Have we missed anything?
I don't think so. We've been quite thorough.
We've been quite thorough. Watch for the opening of the Garden of Eden with Wasp managing the menu, no effects, washing dishes, Rammstein relating to all things fire, and Axl Rose is the is the security guy. Oh, it's perfect. Now that's going on the best of reel of Space Couch when I get that together. So. Do you have any final thoughts for us on the Couch of Space?
Not really. I mean, I would like to thank you, by the way,
Oh,
for
thanks,
the
man.
wonderful things that you appear to be doing for like the community and the scene and all that stuff. You seem very like engaged and trying to like spread the word about the smaller acts and musicians and doing things. And I think that's kind of lovely.
Oh well, hey, it's easy to do when they are as top shelf as you, sir. So
And there he goes again.
it's in my nature. So this is Brian for Space Couch, for Zegarts for Industrial, saying, "Oh God damn it, I forgot to do the catchphrase." So we're gonna do the
Oh,
catchphrase as the outro. Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. Space Couch out. I screwed up. Out. So we are on the ending credits right now. Our voices will still be audience. Thanks to all the Tiger Squawks came out for this one. Grasp Logic, Sex, Death, Religion, Beta Virus, all in the house. Big ups to Dre from Noisebox and Scilab, and we are